Hi everyone, and welcome back to Wander Freely. Today I want to talk about 3 things that Chris and I have noticed at different campgrounds across the country. And these 3 trends are all going to be bad news to you. Sorry to break it to you like that, but that's the truth. So number 1 is that campgrounds are more expensive. The costs have definitely gone up. Number 2 is that we have noticed that campgrounds are definitely more crowded. And number 3 is that we have found that the internet is actually worse. Let's take a look at these 3 things in detail so I can give you some more background information on it, and then also we're going to talk about what you can do about it. Before we begin, I wanted to just give you a quick announcement that yes, I will be doing the RV planners and calendars this year for 2019 as well. And I think that I'm working right now with a new printer because I'm trying to keep the cost down without sacrificing on the quality, because I have really thick paper in here, and I do that on purpose so that no matter what you write, it's not going to bleed through, and this calendar will hold up to being on the road. That's kind of like, you know, the whole point of it. So I'm working with a new printer, and I'm hoping to have the new version for 2019 out by the end of September. Thank you so much for asking about it, for all of you who did. I just thought I'd do a quick announcement to let you know because I've been receiving a lot of emails about it. And yes, I will be doing it. Stay in touch on that, and I will let you know as soon as I have more details. Okay, so let's start with number 1, and that was that the prices have gone up. And of course they're gonna go up. I mean, we started RVing over 3 years ago, so of course this year is not gonna look the same as it did 3 years ago. It just seems like this year there's a bigger jump. So let me break it down for you. In our first year, we meticulously tracked all of our stats, and that's why we had that series of videos that was our first year anniversary stats. There's a bug around me, sorry about that. Because we recorded all of those stats, at the end of the year, we were able to come up with our average monthly campground cost. Now remember, in our first year we started in Pennsylvania, and we traveled to almost, I think it was pretty close to 30 different states. So we were all over the place, running the gamut of staying in higher end, staying in lower end. And so our monthly average, we felt like, was a pretty good picture for people who want to travel a lot and not stay put a lot. Those of you who want to stay put, you can definitely work it into having a better deal, get monthly rates, all of that kind of stuff. But for those of us who really just wanted to travel and see as much as we could see, then we thought that our average number was a pretty good picture of what it looked like. Now, for those of you who do want to stay put, and those of you who have a goal of really just saving money, RVing is a great way to do that. That was not our goal. So put that aside, put that out of your mind. That is not what Chris and I were all about. We wanted to travel. So that's why our number is going to look a lot different than somebody who says, I'm just in it to save as much money as possible. So what was that average number? It was $1,013 per month for campground costs. Now the beauty of campground costs is that they include much more than just your rent, right? They include the rent for your space. They include all of your bills there, your water, your electric, all of your utilities, so to speak. It also includes your internet, and some places it includes even more, like pools and all the different amenities that they offer. That's all included in your nightly full hookup rate. And how did our number get to be there? Well, I just want to explain to you, because this is the difference that it can be. Our lowest month was around $666. Our highest month, which was when we were in California for the whole month, was $1,339.14. So you can see how much your campground costs can vary. But if we take our overall number, which was the $1,013, and then we divide it by 30, just considering that there's 30 days in a month, we can come up with a nightly rate. Our average nightly rate for our first year was $33.76. That kept us right on budget because we wanted to be between $30 and $35 a night. And that's exactly what we got after a year of traveling and seeing everything, going to different places, going to all the different states that we wanted to. But now, as we're looking at, we've been to a lot of different states again. We went all the way out from Pennsylvania, all the way out to Utah, and we're staying in some cases in cities, in some cases out in the country, all different kinds of campgrounds, and we feel like it's going to be a lot harder to average that. We feel like our average at this point is closer to between $35 and $40 a night. So what can you do about it? Well, the first thing that you can do is refigure your budget and plan accordingly. We did a whole series on how to budget for RV living, especially if you're considering full-time. This is such crucial information for you to know in order to make your plans. So I'm going to link that in the description below so that you can get that information, and if you're serious about it, you can figure out what your nightly campground cost needs to be, where you need to come in at to stay within your budget. You can also do the obvious thing, and that is to take advantage of weekly and nightly rates and maybe do some boondocking or free stay nights. That will definitely help to keep your average down, but it may not be as easy for people who are traveling a lot, or depending the area that you want to visit, some maybe won't have as many opportunities for that as other places. So it's just something to consider and to keep in mind. And the third thing that you can do about it, and it's kind of like a secret tip that Chris and I have, and I don't know that I've seen this anywhere necessarily, but we just ended up, it kind of happened in the way that we were traveling, and then afterwards when I look back on it, I saw a trend and was like, wow, this is actually a really good idea. Take a look at new RV parks. What we have found is if it's a newer RV park, like just put in within the past couple of years, they're really looking to grow who's coming to visit them, and they're looking to increase their visitors. So a lot of times they have better deals. They can give you a better rate because they're just trying to make their way into the market. Moving on, the second thing that we noticed is that campgrounds are definitely more crowded. That may not be a problem for you if you like to book ahead. If you're like us and you hate booking ahead, then it becomes a little bit bigger of a problem. We have definitely noticed a trend in the fact that campgrounds are becoming fuller. I think more people are taking vacations. I mean, it is just more people are traveling. It's just the way that it goes. We are having harder time finding spots. We are having harder time finding campgrounds with availability, and that's just across the board. Like I said, not just in city areas or very touristy areas where there are a lot of attractions drawing visitors, but even out in the country, even out just off of highways, even in the back areas where it was much easier to just roll in for the night, it's getting a little bit harder. That's something that we have noticed. So what can you do about it? Well, I think that the biggest lesson here, and I should take my own advice, but I know that I won't because I prefer it that way, but the best thing to do is if you have a particular campground that you really want to stay in, then you're going to want to probably book in advance, or at least look into it in advance. A lot of you are able to do a lot of planning ahead of time for trips. That's harder to do when you're full-time RVing because you're always, you know, someplace awesome. So it's really hard to be thinking about the next place all the time. It gets kind of old, but if you're planning just a single trip, it's a lot easier to book ahead, and that's what I would recommend is just keep your eye out for it and maybe book a little bit farther in advance than you're used to doing. The second tip that I have for you is to maybe consider RVing in the spring and the fall as opposed to in the summer when everybody is vacationing. That's definitely something Chris and I are going to look into because we really like the spring and fall seasons. And so now that we're not full-time RVing, but we're kind of half and halving it, I think we're going to try to move our trips more to earlier in the spring and then possibly in the fall as well. And for the third thing we noticed, and that is that the internet is worse. I mean, I don't think it's obviously not that the internet itself, the service is worse at these similar places. It's just, I think the fact is that because campgrounds are so much more crowded, we're definitely seeing that in internet usage as well. So it's becoming a lot more difficult, and that's part of the reason that it's been a lot harder for me to upload all my videos. I mean, it's taking me, they're much more spaced out because it's taking me forever to get to a campground where I can actually upload the darn things. Maybe for most people that's not even really a concern. For us, it's not too big of a concern. Chris does need internet access for his business, but all the work that he does is offline work. He needs the internet then to communicate and to send work back and forth. But for me, it's a bigger problem because pretty much everything that I do is online. Between the website and the YouTube channel, it is becoming quite a bit of a problem for me. So what can you do about it? Well, I have definitely taken advantage of local libraries. Remember, you can use the library for free. Genius, right? So stop by a local library. Usually they have free Wi-Fi service that you can use as a visitor. Easy peasy, do what you need to do, and then leave. Chris and I are actually trying something new in the internet realm. I've talked about it before, but we have really had struggled with the internet. And so we are at the point where we were really looking for a lot of different options, trying to weigh everything. And we've come up with something really awesome. It's a product, first time that we have ever seen a product like this, where it actually meets the person's needs. Crazy, right? It's still really new to us. We've only been using it like 2 weeks. So once we have more experience with it, and if it continues to go great and we see that everything is wonderful with it, then we'll let you know what it is, just so that you have the information for yourself too. Okay, so that wraps up our 3 topics. I'm just wondering, I'm really curious what the rest of you are seeing out there on the road as you're traveling to different places. Let me know if some of this stuff is resonating with what you're seeing on the road, and just so that we can all learn together, because we have a lot of new people who end up on our channel and they're kind of interested in seeing what, you know, how it's working for other people and people that have some experience with this. So let us know if you're perceiving the same thing that we are in terms of what's happening at campgrounds across the country. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.